In Mile 22, a dangerous CIA team carries out a secret mission in which they end up killing several people, something that could have been buried and forgotten. But about a year and a half later, someone unexpectedly returns to settle the score, shocking the entire team. Not only that, this person begins taking them down one by one through a calculated and unusual plan, raising the question of who he is and how he manages to dismantle the whole team. And that's exactly what this explanation dives into, making it a solid pick for anyone who enjoys action-packed films. The movie begins with a scene at a U.S. safe house where CIA agents Alice Kerr and another operative arrive on a special mission after receiving intel that a group of Russians has been stockpiling a highly dangerous radioactive substance, possibly to build a devastating explosive device. Their primary objective is to destroy the safe house at any cost. And as Alice and her teammate approach the house, their team leader James Silva keeps a close watch from a distance with his rifle, while aerial surveillance is maintained through drones. And the entire operation is being guided remotely by CIA handler Bishop, showing that the agency has come fully prepared for this high-stakes mission. As they reach the door, Alice knocks, and a woman opens it. As Alice keeps talking to the woman, her teammate suddenly pulls out a small explosive device from his pocket and tosses it inside the house. And as they shove the woman and push their way in, the rest of their team quickly follows. Together, they take several Russians hostage and start questioning them about the hidden stash of radioactive material. But no one is willing to reveal its location, although one of the agents suspects it might be inside a vault they find. Yet when they open it, they discover nothing but some cash and a hard drive, which immediately raises suspicion. Meanwhile, unknown to them, there are still more people hiding inside the house, and suddenly these men emerge from cover and open fire on the team, leading to a chaotic shootout where Alice gets shot and injured and another agent is killed. And seeing the situation spiral, their handler Bishop orders them to take out anyone in sight, prompting the team to respond with full force and gun down the attackers. However, in the middle of this, one of the men manages to turn on a gas line in an attempt to trigger an explosion, and as flames begin to spread inside the house, the agents are forced to retreat quickly, while the man trying to start the fire ends up catching fire himself. And as the blaze grows, James Silva, who has been watching from a distance, notices the flames and moves closer. And in a desperate attempt to survive, the burning man jumps out of a window trying to save his life. But by the time James Silva reaches the front of the house, he shoots the man and takes him down. And soon after, the team assumes that the radioactive material inside may have caught fire since it is extremely volatile. However, once the mission is over and they return, Silva learns that there was no such material in the house at all, and the people they killed, whom they believe to be Russian operatives, are now being reported by the media as innocent civilians, with heavy criticism directed at Silva, especially for the death of an 18-year-old boy. About a year and a half later, the CIA team is still trying to track down the actual source of the radioactive material based on new intel, and they regroup at the U.S. Embassy in Indokar, Indonesia. But after what happened last time, Silva has serious doubts about Alice Kerr, since the previous mission was based on her source and led to nothing. Because of this, he gets into heated arguments with the team, while Alice is already dealing with personal struggles, including family issues that have kept her from seeing her daughter, as her ex-husband continues trying to push her away, making this one of the toughest periods of her life. Yet despite everything, she has no choice but to stay on the mission with Silva, because duty to the country comes before anything else, and following her new source, the entire team once again assembles at the U.S. Embassy, because very soon, a man is expected to arrive with crucial information about the missing radioactive material. And meanwhile, as James Silva is being briefed by embassy officials, a senior officer named John orders him to locate the missing material as quickly as possible, since if it falls into the wrong hands, the consequences could be catastrophic. At the same time, from an airport in Russia, a Russian plane is seen taking off, and the captain tells a flight attendant that they are about to carry out something major, right after which a man's profile appears on the aircraft system, raising the question of who he is and what his connection to the Russians might be. Something that becomes clearer in the very next scene, where the same man shows up outside the U.S. Embassy and surrenders himself. This man, Lee Noor, claims that he has information about the missing radioactive material, which means he is actually Alice's source, and he hands over a hard drive to the embassy officials. However, the CIA team quickly realizes that the drive is programmed to self-destruct in 8 hours, and Noor offers a deal, saying that if they can get him safely out of the country, he will personally unlock the drive and reveal all the information. And at first, Alice is sent in by the CIA team to talk to him, where Noor again asks for asylum in the United States. But instead of agreeing, Alice refuses and threatens him with intense interrogation to force the information out of him. But Noor doesn't give in and tells her they're just wasting time. And after Alice returns unsuccessful, James Silva vents his frustration on the computer experts because they are unable to unlock the hard drive by any means. Meanwhile, when Noor is taken for a medical checkup, the doctor completes the examination as usual, but right after it ends, two nurses suddenly attack him out of nowhere, and it turns out these nurses are actually disguised assassins hired by the Indonesian government, sent there to eliminate Noor, since he had betrayed his country by trying to hand over sensitive information to the United States and escape. However, even while restrained, Noor puts up an incredible fight and manages to take both attackers down despite his hands and feet being tied. At the same time, Agent Axel from Indonesia's State Intelligence Agency arrives at the US Embassy with his team, claiming that Noor is a police officer and that no one has the right to interrogate a government official without Indonesia's permission, as Noor could pose a threat to their national security. And to emphasize the seriousness, even the country's foreign minister is present, clearly showing how important Noor is to them. But Silva refuses them outright, and just then, news comes in from the medical room about the attack on Noor. Yet before anyone can intervene, Noor has already killed both assailants, and although they manage to slightly injure him with a knife, he uses his deadly fighting skills to completely overpower and eliminate them. Anyway, when the security and CIA personnel enter the room, they are left stunned seeing Noor covered in blood. And from his fighting style, they quickly realize that he is not some ordinary or harmless man, but a highly skilled combat fighter. After digging a little deeper into his background, they discover that he is not just a regular police officer, but actually a member of the country's special forces. Meanwhile, when Silva and his team question Agent Axel about the attack on Noor, he refuses to answer and simply walks away. And when Noor speaks with the CIA again, he sets a clear condition that they must put him on a US-bound flight immediately, and only after boarding will he reveal the password to unlock the hard drive. Following this demand, the CIA officers agree to his terms, and the responsibility of transporting him to an airport located 22 miles away falls on Silva and his team, who gear up with heavy weapons and prepare to provide full protection, fully aware that this is going to be a high-risk mission. Since the Indonesian government has already attempted to kill Noor once, another attack is highly likely, so Silva carefully escorts Noor into a vehicle and heads toward the airport. During the drive, Noor reveals that the Indonesian government had his entire family killed, which is why he turned against them and chose to supply information to the United States, while at the same time, the entire route is being monitored from above using drones. But suddenly, CIA officers monitoring the drones spot 6 to 7 motorcycles rapidly approaching the vehicle carrying Noor. And before they can warn Silva's team, one of the riders pulls up alongside the car and tosses a grenade inside, causing a violent explosion that blows apart the rear of the vehicle and sets it on fire. Agent Sam, who is sitting next to Alice, is severely injured and thrown out onto the road, while the remaining attackers dismount and begin firing at the team. Silva, William, and Alice immediately return fire as Sam lies on the ground badly wounded and struggling to survive. And at the same time, the CIA officials back at the control room are unable to provide much help because someone has cut off the building's electrical signals, causing their systems to shut down one by one. However, they still have access to the drones, which allows them to stay in contact with Silva and provide limited guidance. And by this point, Silva has already taken out several attackers. Just then, one of them fires a rocket launcher, completely destroying another vehicle, but Silva reacts in time and eliminates him as well. And from the control room, they instruct Silva to move toward a nearby BMW for extraction. Following this, William moves to get the car while Silva provides cover fire. But in the middle of the chaos, another attacker suddenly reaches the vehicle and launches an attack directly on Noor inside. But just like before, Noor once again uses his deadly fighting skills to take the attacker down. And by then, William has already brought the new car close, so they quickly get inside and move out. But Sam is so badly injured that there is no chance of survival. And with no way to get him to a hospital, Silva hands him 2 grenades, knowing his death is inevitable, so that if the attackers close in, he can take them out with him. As expected, once Silva and the others leave with Noor, the attackers surround Sam, and he immediately pulls the pins, blowing himself up along with them. Meanwhile, as Silva, Alice, William, and Noor continue moving, they ask the control room if there is any nearby safe house, and by this point the power has been restored, allowing the CIA officers to guide them to one located next to a restaurant. When they arrive, they are instructed to enter, but Silva suddenly spots Axel outside, and during a brief confrontation, Axel makes it clear that they need Noor at any cost, and are willing to cross any line to get him. But Silva refuses outright, saying he will never hand Noor over and is ready for any kind of fight. And as he turns to go back, he suddenly notices a grenade near the restaurant entrance and, realizing the danger, immediately tries to push two people inside out of harm's way. And in the very next moment, the grenade explodes, completely destroying the restaurant. And while Silva manages to survive the blast, William is left severely wounded and covered in blood, so Alice rushes in and helps him outside. Meanwhile, inside the restaurant, a woman suddenly attacks Silva, likely one of Axel's agents. And after a brief struggle, it turns into an intense hand-to-hand fight. But Silva eventually manages to shoot and kill her, only for more attackers to arrive and open fire again, making it clear that they are being hit at every step. Silva returns fire and takes down several more gunmen, and then the team regroups, gets back into a vehicle, and heads toward the airport. But not long after, another car suddenly crashes into them on the road, forcing their vehicle to stop, and as they step out and take positions, more gunmen show up, triggering another round of gunfire that is even more intense. During this exchange, the already injured William is hit again, and knowing he doesn't have much time left, he holds his ground and continues firing, managing to take down several attackers before finally succumbing to his injuries. With his death, only Alice and Silva remain in the team, and at that point, Commander Bishop instructs them to move Noor through a nearby building to get him to safety. Following that order, they enter the building but soon realize it was a mistake, as Axel and his team were already lying in wait inside. And after moving a short distance, Silva and Alice spot a grenade ahead of them, forcing them to quickly fall back just as it explodes. At this point, the mission turns into non-stop chaos with repeated grenade attacks and heavy gunfire that just doesn't seem to end. As Silva and Alice try to retreat with Noor, they come under attack again, and the explosions and crossfire end up separating them, with both of them firing in different directions and taking out several more attackers. A little later, Alice comes across a small child and tries to get them out safely, but another round of gunfire breaks out and she runs out of ammo. On the other side, Silva is also facing intense gunfire in almost every room, as more enemies keep emerging from cover, and although he manages to eliminate many of them, none have been able to even scratch him so far. Classic action hero stuff. After some time, Silva realizes Alice might be trapped somewhere inside, and even though Bishop orders him to leave her and get Noor out, Silva refuses to abandon her and decides to stay. And to make that possible, he hands Noor a pistol and asks for his help. And once Noor agrees, the two of them cautiously move forward together. Now, Silva and Noor continue taking down more attackers, and Noor's fighting here is especially impressive, as he not only keeps up in the gunfight, but also suddenly charges in and overwhelms several enemies in brutal hand-to-hand combat. As the two of them push forward, Axel starts talking to Silva from inside a room, once again trying to convince him to hand Noor over by offering different kinds of deals, but Silva doesn't listen at all. Meanwhile, in the room where Alice is trapped, she rigs a grenade at the door so that it explodes the moment it's opened. And when two men approach, the blast takes them out instantly. But after that, she runs out of grenades and is left standing there helpless. Moments later, another Indonesian attacker shows up in front of her like a grim reaper. And although Alice pretends to beg for her life by mentioning her daughter, she is secretly holding a shard of broken glass. And as the man gets close, she strikes, but he overpowers her and brutally beats her down, nearly killing her. And just as he is about to choke her to death, Noor arrives at the last second and shoots him, saving her. After surviving all this chaos, Silva regroups with them and once again gets them into a vehicle, heading toward the airport, though by now that 22-mile journey feels more like 2,000 miles. Anyway, they now have to reach the airport as quickly as possible because the plane Noor is supposed to board is about to take off. And from the operation control room, Bishop keeps urging them to hurry. Although Silva drives at high speed, he suddenly spots a car blocking the road and is forced to stop, only to see that Axel is inside it. Silva informs Bishop that if they engage Axel now, they won't be able to get Noor onto the plane in time, as it would waste too much time, so the CIA needs to handle Axel directly. And upon hearing this, Bishop orders an immediate drone strike, and within moments, a missile is fired, blowing up Axel along with the car. With the road now clear, Silva and Alice quickly reach the airport with Noor, where he is first taken through security, and then Silva gets the password for the drive from him, which is relayed to the control room, allowing them to unlock it and discover 5 different locations where the dangerous radioactive material is hidden. After securing this information, they allow Noor to board the plane, and Alice joins him as she wants to return home to see her daughter. Just when it seems like everything has finally gone smoothly, right before boarding, Noor tells Silva to say hello to his mother on his behalf. In this mission, Mother was actually the codename for Bishop, the operation controller, and Silva's codename was Child 1, So the big question is how Noor knew that. But by the time Silva starts thinking about it, the plane has already taken off, and he decides not to dwell on it and heads back from the airport. Meanwhile, at the same time, chaos breaks out in the CIA control room because although they successfully unlock the drive using the password Noor provided, a virus suddenly spreads across all their systems, written in Russian code, and begins taking over every computer. And once the system is fully hacked, several images along with Russian text appear on the screens. When Bishop has it decoded, the realization hits hard. Everything they believed turns upside down because the man they had been protecting at the cost of their own agents' lives is actually a Russian operative. And that's a twist no one saw coming. It turns out that the 18-year-old boy the CIA team killed a year and a half ago was the son of a high-ranking Russian officer, and Noor was sent on this mission to avenge that death by taking down the entire CIA team, which also explains why a Russian plane had been tracking him throughout the story. From this point, it's implied that Noor may eliminate Alice on the plane, and not long after takeoff, the pilot is heard screaming, "Mayday," suggesting Noor has likely taken control. While back in the control room, armed attackers storm in and gun down the remaining team, which means at this point, Silva is the only one left from the entire team. And the interesting detail here is that it was actually he who pulled the trigger on that 18-year-old boy back then, making it clear that Noor or possibly other Russian agents may come after him next to finish what was started, while Silva, on the other hand, is left with nothing but a burning resolve to take revenge for his fallen team and uncover the conspiracy behind it all. This strongly hints that a second part could follow, and once it's released, you can expect a full breakdown of that as well. So until then, stay safe and take care. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.